Where is the game we were all so excited for? Because today we're not just looking at a game with a few bugs, we're investigating a game whose biggest features, the reasons why we bought into early access, still feel imaginary. So let's rewind. Kunos and the people that kind of promoted it and marketed it sold us on a vision that was nothing short of spectacular. This wasn't just a sequel to Assetto Corsa, they were building a whole platform for the future. And the crown jewel of this promise, I think it's fair to say, was a gigantic 1,600 square kilometre laser scanned open world, a digital playground modelled on Germany's legendary Eifel region, obviously home of the Nürburgring. This wasn't just about hot lapping anymore, it was about living the automotive life. They did tell us we'd have free roaming mode with AI traffic, we'd be able to rent cars, visit tuning workshops, and just drive. So the RPG concept implied a journey starting, or we interpreted a journey, starting with a modest car, earning money and building your dream garage piece by piece. It was a fantasy every car enthusiast has. It's the dream we started having with the original Test Drive Unlimited that has just been fallen by the wayside in recent games like Gran Turismo, Le Mans Ultimate, iRacing. They don't do this. But on top of that, Assetto Corsa EVO promised a brand new in-house game engine with stunning graphics, dynamic weather and a full day-night cycle. No more Unreal Engine, it was supposed to be the ultimate leap forward. And on January 16, 2025, they opened the doors to early access and let's be honest, we all rushed in while it's open, ready for the future. But the future didn't arrive. Instead, we got one of the rockiest launches in recent sim racing memory. So the game released and for thousands of players, it was, fair to say, completely broken. A huge chunk of the content, the cars and tracks we had paid for were locked behind an online mode, and guess what? The servers didn't work. So for a studio whose reputation was built on incredible offline physics, forcing an always online connection that had failed immediately felt like for some a slap in the face. And I can tell you for me, I was disappointed because I wasn't aware of this and I hadn't covered it in my pre-release reporting. And if I'd known, I would have made videos saying, by the way, this has some kind of like online aspect, be aware of it. But I wasn't able to, and people were locked out of their own game. So for those who could get in, the performance was, well, not great initially. And it is fair to say that Kunos did act incredibly quickly in patching the game to allow us to get around the always online requirement. But high-end PCs, rigs that can run on any other sim, on max settings, ultra settings, were struggling to get a stable frame rate. I can tell you this myself, on my RTX 4090, it was difficult to get the game stable. And for VR players, it was practically unplayable. The game was very difficult to run in VR, very difficult. Steam reviews immediately tanked to mixed and the forums were on fire. The community wasn't just angry, they were confused. This wasn't the Kunos that everyone knew. This wasn't the smooth start that a lot of us expected. It was like crashing out on the very first lap. But we held on. We told ourselves it's early access, they'll fix it. The big updates are coming. We trusted the process. There's a roadmap. It's early access. And that's where this story gets a bit strange because according to Kunos' own schedule, the first parts of that incredible open world, the Eifel free roaming area, was supposed to start arriving in summer 2025. I remember massive videos on YouTube, people like Misha Shalderin, who quite rightly should be really excited about this because he's basically living, breathing the Nordsch life and it's going to come to this game. But there was huge hype generated for this Eifel open world region that was meant to start coming in summer 2025. Well, it's August now. Summer's almost over, although it is insanely hot in the UK. But where is this free roam area? It's gone. It's been very quietly pushed back, maybe all the way to the game's last update before full launch, which could easily be sometime in 2026. So let me say that again. I think it's a fair point, and as always, I'm going to be completely honest with you in my videos. The game's single biggest selling point for a lot of people, the feature that really defines Assetto Corsa EVO as a new platform, not just a sequel to Assetto Corsa, has been seemingly delayed indefinitely. It's become a ghost, a marketing bullet point now with no delivery date. So instead of that revolutionary open world, what have we got over the last 7 months? 7 months. A pretty slow drip of minor patches. Updates that got announced like 0.3 and then delayed at the last minute. We've seen a few nice cars and tracks. I mean, Fuji, I don't like, but in the game, I'll take it. And we've also seen some nice cars come as well. But it's like ordering a feast and being served a single breadstick. It's not what we paid for or what we thought we were getting when we paid for it. The lack of communication has also been a bit strange. Silence from the developers for weeks on end, leaving the community feeling ignored, misled, and confused. Many other early access developers in sim racing or racing games provide detailed updates, Le Mans Ultimate, Tokyo Extreme Racer, even when the news is bad. That transparency builds trust. Kunos' silence, in contrast, has created suspicion and, I think fair to say, killed the game's momentum. The player count is understandably dwindling because there's nothing substantial to bring people back. And honestly, the problems run deeper than just a missing open world. The core experience, the driving itself, feels strangely unfinished. So the force feedback, the way that the wheel communicates what the car is doing, is a massive debating point. I personally feel like the force feedback is really good in Assetto Corsa EVO, but many players find it feels dull and muddy and missing that sharp, detailed feeling that made this the original Assetto Corsa a legend. We're all agreed that the AI drivers are still a joke. They drive like they're on rails, like they're unaware of you, turning every race potentially into a demolition derby. And the multiplayer is not here yet, so we're stuck with this bad AI. We're missing essential features in a sim racing game these days, like a proper ranking system that gives people a reason to complete online, and also a curated, I mean, no game's doing this now, but like we need a single player curated experience where you start and you grow up and there's some kind of narrative. So while we've been waiting for EVO to become a complete game, its competitors haven't been standing still. Games like Le Mans Ultimate launched with a narrower focus initially, wasn't trying to be open world, for example, but it delivered a slightly more polished, complete racing experience from day one. It wasn't the ultimate game on day one, but it's better now. And ironically, the biggest competitor to EVO is probably its own predecessor. The original Assetto Corsa, which is now a decade-old game, feels more alive arguably than ever thanks to its incredible modding community, a community that is still delivering more content for free than EVO has received in 7 months of original updates. This brings us back to the big question, is Assetto Corsa EVO an imaginary game? Now that's not fair completely. There is a game here, you can buy it, you can launch it, you can drive cars on tracks. But the vision of the game, the soul of the game, the promise of the game, the revolutionary simulator we were sold, the one we all paid for in advance, that game is still imaginary. It's still a ghost in the machine, a collection of broken promises on a delayed timeline. We know early access is always a gamble, I always say this, but it's a gamble based on trust. And the fear is now that EVO's development isn't just a slow burn, it's maybe some kind of burnout, leaving early supporters like myself, who paid for it to kind of support the game going through, with a shell of a game. So the trust between developer and community is a fragile thing, and right now Kunos is stretching that trust to breaking point. You just need to look at the Assetto Corsa Discord. So I have to ask you, was Kunos too ambitious? Did they sell us a dream that they knew they couldn't build in time? And the most important question for us, the players who funded this project, will we ever get the game we were actually sold? Or will we get a cut down game? And is that fine because it's early access? I've always looked at Assetto Corsa EVO as a good time trialing game. I haven't built it for more than myself than that. And that's why I'm happy with new cars and tracks coming. But is that acceptable for everyone? I don't know. If this video gave you some things to think about, make sure you subscribe as well because you might get notified for more. It'd be great to have you on board with the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.